Love podcasts, hate nonsense. It's the PoliticsJOE podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking hell.
I'm pollened.
Oh, yeah.
So much pollen in me.
I usually have hay fever quite bad, but it's nowhere near triggering yet.
No.
You must be trees, I must be grasses.
Yeah, I can imagine I would be male trees. They all hate me because I'm a misandrist.
That scans, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently.
How does the day find you?
Well, it found me.
You all right?
Yeah, which is fine. I feel a little bit, Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in Scunthorpe yesterday, which we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Otherwise, we would have spoken about something that actually really got my back up yesterday.
Did it?
I did.
Was it a male tree?
Was it? Goodness gracious.
No, not like that.
Labour are at it again.
They never fucking give it up, do they?
Labour are at it.
What have they been at this time?
Well, Labour have actually dropped plans for these sort of... Do you remember the big sort of explosion on social media around an inquiry into the rape gangs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Labour was sort of tiptoeing around the edges. They were saying we're going to allocate funding for these locally led inquiries rather than do a national inquiry. And now we found out that actually that's going to be watered down even further. And the money that they're going to allocate to local councils will not have to be spent on a local inquiry, or they don't even have to do the investigation at all. Now, at the time, Ollie, you'll remember the criticism was, how on earth can a council mark its own homework? If a council, the problem that we had with these gangs was that a lot of the council and people who worked around it were absorbed into it, right?
They were woke.
They were, well, there wasn't an independent actor, right? And some would argue that actually a lot of you could get away with these crimes. I'm being careful with my language, of course, because I don't, as much as I feel very strongly about this, we've got to work in the parameters of the
law.
The law. Unfortunately, the woke law.
Yeah, absolutely.
You may feel that perhaps if people who were indicted in that case were working in or around the council, then perhaps the council isn't the best person to review why that happened.
I think Keir Starmer's the only person in Westminster who thinks that an inquiry is its actual purpose is to find something out. I don't think he understands that its political function is essentially to defer a decision or knowledge to like a prime minister 2 or 3 down the line. You announce an inquiry, and then for the next 3 years, when anyone asks you about the issue, you say, well, I wouldn't want to prejudge the findings of the inquiry, and Baroness Hale is going to do an excellent job looking into said issue, but we have now made this independent. It's not something that I'm going to be speaking on further. That's the political utility of doing the thing. You don't actually do it to look into the issue, and I think the frequency with which the new Labour government announced inquiries into fucking everything, inquiries into, they might as well have launched an inquiry into Ava Santina, and Lord knows what they would have found, Ava. Yeah,
God knows.
God knows what they would have found. They were willing to open an inquiry into anything, but not this. And silly politics. You got Rupert Lowe freelancing now. He's going to do his own inquiry, isn't he?
Yeah.
Farage said he wants judicial review. Judicial inquiry? Was that the line he said? He tweeted something yesterday. Yeah. It's bad politics, let alone the actual, the seriousness of the issue. The seriousness of the issue.
Labour, they just, it's hard. How do I say this? It's hard to feel that Labour cares, because the sort of like, I think that what I don't like about it, and whenever it's been spoken about in the dispatch box, that it always comes with a sort of sneering condescension. It's almost as if this is like a fringe faction movement who are calling for this inquiry or calling for attention on it. And it really does feel that Labour, essentially, or some of the Labour front benches essentially think like, that's nothing to do with us. It's every bit to do with you. You're in government. A lot of the recommendations still haven't been implemented. this could happen again.
Yeah.
One child raped is one child too many, right?
That's a very, very brave thing for you to say.
Well,
someone had to say it.
Stunning and brave. But what I mean is they don't seem to approach it with that sort of mentality.
Yeah. No, I agree. I see what you mean though about it being hard, because I think there used to be a slightly, a bit meta here. There's a slightly like anarchic, laughing while the boat sinks feel to us. This show even in its first few years of existence, and now 9 months into a Labour government, it's hard to reach for an emotion beyond despair
About Labour.
Yeah.
Well,
And this will lead us into our conversation, I think, about populism and centrist politics. But I really I don't know what else to do beyond sort of a general feeling of the grim certainty that if you have vaguely progressive politics in the UK, it's about to get a lot worse. Yeah.
If you're sort of entering into a period of even more or deeper entrenched economic downturn as well, these are sort of the conditions that might mean that a young, vulnerable child falls into the eyesight or the eye line of someone who is perhaps more influential, perhaps has a little bit of cash, might buy you something that your parents can't buy you. I just feel like the economic climate is ripe for grooming. And to not have that on your radar as a government, I think that's quite frightening.
Yeah.
You might say that the Petri dish is
I knew you were going to bring up the fucking Petri dish, yeah. Is it Petri?
I have no idea.
It's the sort of thing I'd probably ask Laura about. I don't know how you would say it.
Yeah, it probably is a Petri dish, isn't it?
Fear in her eyes. I think it's Petri dish. Ava, you're of course referencing my talk at the Oxford Union.
With Nancy Pelosi.
With none other than Nancy Pelosi. They actually, I've been invited back, and they send you a brochure. It's like these are all the things we've done at the Oxford Union, and pride and place. It's like notable speakers, right? Winston Churchill. They haven't got a photo of him. It's just an
Not
artist.
Winston Marshall, typical.
Well, yeah, I know, woke. But Pelosi's there, and obviously the crop is very specific, and you can sort of see a hint of maybe one of my knuckles sat next to her. But
what were your knuckles doing going near
protruding?
Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, they're inflamed.
Yeah. Is that what happens to you?
My hands were really up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I challenge anyone to not have a
face these knuckles.
To control their throbbing knuckles in the presence of Pelosi. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And anyway, so that was a debate about populism, right? It was a debate about populism, whether or not it posed a threat to democracy.
And you were pro, obviously.
Yeah, massively pro populism. But actually quite relevant. I think they did well to have that debate, because I think it's probably one of the defining issue of our times.
What you had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, let's get into it a little bit. What was your theory of that night?
What was my theory of that night? Well, essentially, I think
you talked about sort of like the conditions that lead to populism.
Yeah.
Populism.
Economic conditions, the material conditions, and that essentially.
What is that?
I'm not hearing things.
No, that's like a...
It sounded like a lullaby.
It did, didn't it? But I think, is it like a line bike or a forest bike or something?
I thought I was getting like baby flashbacks. Anyway, yeah, that the economic conditions are ripe, and that essentially if the centre fails, then we're
that was
we're
a line
doomed.
bike.
Was it?
Did you hear the goal? Yeah. Some line bikes have still got the goal.
What?
Do you not remember that during the the football last year, they changed the line bike activation thing.
No. Really?
From da 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 to goal. Anyway, I know I'm very familiar with line bike noises because I live like at sort of like I live at like kind of like on a corner where there's like I live in an area where you can't park a line bike just anywhere.
Right.
You have to park it
in a designated spot.
And that spot is beneath my window. So and on the weekend I was actually had to go down to London Bridge to do something, and I was about to leave and I needed to get a line bike, and then all of these like young people started stealing all the line bikes, and they were like all the alarms were going off.
There's quite a good one that I've seen. Children probably no more than 10 in age.
Yeah.
Definitely more than 10 in number. What's the collective noun for a gang?
Children?
I'm going a bit spectator. A gang of youths. And what they like to do when all the line bikes are parked next to each other is kick.
They love kicking them down.
Kick them, and then they go like dominoes.
They
and then
love
all
that.
the alarms go off.
Yeah.
And they shriek and cackle with joy.
Yeah.
Starmer's Britain.
Yeah.
Open the youth centres. Protect our line bikes.
They've got nothing else to do.
I've started line biking again.
Have you?
Yeah. Weather's good for it now.
Yeah, I hate you fair weather bikers.
The thing is, I've
been in there rain or shine.
Well, you don't have to subject yourself to that.
Yeah, I do. I'm scared of the tube.
Yeah, see, it's the inverse for me because I used to cycle everywhere. I used to cycle to work.
I remember, yeah.
And then you get knocked off. And I think it's a certainty that you eventually get knocked off as a cyclist. I think it's slightly different as a line biker because they're more robust. They're substantial and visible in a way that, a road bike isn't perhaps quite, thinner, more subtle.
They are sturdier, but they are heavier, and they don't corner very well. They turn terribly.
Yeah,
they corner like the Titanic. That's a play on the Pretty Woman line, which is like this corner's like it's on rails.
And I seriously injured my shoulder. And since then, I just thought, what's the point? I'd rather just pay a tenner.
Really?
So, yeah. So I do. But I don't mind a little, it's a sort of point-to-point journey on the line bike.
But it's not. Mine's 40 quid a month I spend on it.
Yeah, we'll have a recurring pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry, £10 for the
travel.
TFL, yeah.
Yeah. You also be more than that though, because you're. Do you lime from where you live?
No. That's what I'm saying. I do point to point. So, if you get to a train station that's maybe a couple of miles away from where you live, I might complete the journey on a line bike.
Yeah, that's nice.
Is this an interesting conversation for other people?
I don't think so.
Laura's wincing.
Is this terrible? Should we move on?
How does Oli commute?
Yeah, this is actually really. That is so boring, man. What are we doing?
I think just before we came here, you showed me a comment on the subreddit that was like, "Make this podcast funny again."
Yeah, but they can fuck off. All right, like honestly, I've had enough.
Huh? Have you?
Oh, everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah, that's life, man.
Just don't listen to it. Oh, it's not funny enough. Too many jokes. You're sixth formers. Like, piss off.
Do you think you're rattled?
Yeah, fully. But you know something at the moment? I just feel like people are nipping all the time. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you lot use your anonymity, especially on Reddit, to just be an annoyance. Like, would you come up to me on the street and be like, I don't find you very funny? Or da-da-da-da-da. No, you wouldn't, you little pussy bitch. So I don't know why I'm not going to pay any more attention to you unless your full name and date of birth is in the bio. Like,
okay. 2 things.
Anything to add?
Me? Are you treating me like one of the Redditors? My name and age aren't in my bio.
Your name is?
ASL.
We know where you work.
Yeah, it's publicly available information. I don't think people are going to dox themselves.
Okay.
But also, maybe we should have a slightly less combative relationship with our audience.
I don't give a fuck.
Like, I would say it's quite Neil Strauss the game, like negging the audience.
I'm not negging the audience. They've negged
just
me.
being outright
They've
rude.
negged me for too long.
Right, okay.
Actually, no, they haven't even negged me. They've been rude to me for too long.
You sound like someone sort of angrily complaining to ask to speak to the manager.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
I have had it up to here.
Do you know what it is?
Your staff are rude.
Yeah.
I know.
They never DM me to tell me they hate the podcast. They just reserve that for the public forums.
I think within reason. I don't think you should. I don't think you should care
What do you mean?
too much.
But why can't you ask me something about politics? Why can't you start an interesting dialogue, a conversation, a little thought you had? Why does it have to be like, this is how I want the podcast to be?
Is this me or the audience?
Audience.
Okay, because I can do that.
No, don't worry. You're all right. You're safe.
That means so much. No, I think it's a perilous path to caring what other people think about you.
Yeah, I don't know where it's come from because I never used to.
I think if you respect, I think this is something quite unique to our current moment, and it's a product of social media that basically everyone, certainly in our age bracket, now yearns for validation in a way that is quite new. And that's a product of, I think, engagement. You know, you post a picture of yourself and you're essentially asking your audience to rate the appearance of the photo. How many likes am I going to get on how I look here? And you know, to your point, right? If someone in the street starts shouting at you and, I don't know, saying mean things to you, or saying nice things to you, actually, I don't think you should hold that person's opinion in particularly high regard, because you don't know who they are and you don't respect them. There's a select few number of people in anyone's life, whether they are your colleagues or your friends or your family, and if one of them says to you, do you know what, actually, Ava, I thought it was quite rogue when you started attacking the audience on the podcast today. You go, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I think you, Mum, Ollie, Dave, whoever, have my best interests at heart, and therefore I'm going to listen to what you have to say about me. But if someone is being mean to you on the internet, and I think this is the other side of it, is being nice to you on the internet, it behoves you to ignore them, because I think it's a very dangerous. Yeah, it behooves you.
Yeah. Okay.
Behoof?
Yeah.
Behove?
Behoof.
I don't think behoof is a conjugation of that word, yeah.
You could be behooved.
It behooves you too.
I'll behoove
Behoves
you.
Behoves you too. You know when you say a word. Me? Yeah.
Well, where was it if it wasn't in front of his mouth?
Did you catch any of that last bit, or should I just fucking kill myself?
No.
See, I care about Sean, so when he says don't kill yourself, I listen.
He didn't actually. He didn't say don't. He actually very nonchalantly went, no.
After the pod, maybe. But if you start to listen too much to what random people on the internet say about you, whether it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, I think you're a one-way trip to sort of neuroticism.
Pound town.
No.
Oh.
Right. Should we move on?
If you want to. I don't know. Did you have something to behoove?
You know when you say a word so many times you forget, you can sort of lose what it means.
Yeah.
It's like you're required to. You should do something.
Or like a conjugation of words. You know, like National Inquiry on Rape Gangs. That's lost all meaning. Scunthorpe?
Yeah, go on. I'm just looking up behoves.
Okay.
Yeah, duty or responsibility for someone to do something.
No, I know. Why are you telling me?
Because I just forgot what it meant. We should really move on to Scunthorpe.
I went to Scunthorpe yesterday.
Tell me all about it.
I went to go and see the steelworks.
Yeah.
But you know something? Well, actually, you do know this. I was planning to go either yesterday or Wednesday. And then I heard that Nigel Farage was going to the steelworks on Tuesday.
Yesterday was Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday.
Shit. Okay.
What were you meant to do that you forgot about?
Never mind.
Were you meant to do something
never
today?
mind. Never mind.
You were, weren't you?
Never mind. Let's move on.
I really want to know.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out. So you went to Scunthorpe on Tuesday.
What you?
No. No.
No, I need to know.
Not now.
I can't concentrate.
Well, we're at an impasse.
Is it your wedding anniversary?
No. Could be.
Oh wow, big guy over here.
Ooh,
Someone's read The Game.
We've got 2 game references in today. Yeah, I neg my wife by publicly saying I don't know when her anniversary is.
Yeah.
It's bold.
Luckily that she doesn't engage with this or
At
podcast.
All. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so Nigel, you called him the Farage earlier.
Don't say that on here.
Right. Because I quite like the whole.
We're just going to tell him everything that we say in private, are we?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how it works.
Right.
I like when people call him Farage, right? Because it's a bit FBP. It's
I was literally going to say okay then.
Don't call him Farage because it sounds exotic and French. And I think it's good to take it one step further because fadge is you're essentially saying vag at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, but I used to work with someone who did that and they had to go out of their way to pretend that they'd always said garage rather than garage, and they'd always said garage before that.
Yeah, look, I think it scans for me if you say garage to call him Farage. It does.
What about garage? Farage.
Garage is quite...
We've done it again.
Yeah. Tuesday.
Yeah.
You were in Scunthorpe, which is also yesterday, and Nigel was there.
What interested me is I thought, why does he want to go to the steelworks? What's the interest? What's piqued his interest there? And it turns out his interest is calling for nationalisation of British steel. That is interesting to me. Secondly, what was interesting to me was how many of the staff, and later actually we saw some of their official photographs, they were holding literature from Unite and GMB Union, who are the unions that are representing workers for the plant. For the steelworks. That is so fascinating to me that a Reform Member of Parliament would be holding that sort of literature. They have spotted a gap in the market here, right? They've spotted a gap in the politics. While Labour is so concerned with chasing the anti-immigration rhetoric, that they're pumping out all of this is how many people we've deported, this is how we're stopping the boats, and we're closing down the asylum hotels. They're sort of leaning into the traditional reform rhetoric. While they've been so hyper-focused on that, they forgot to do stuff that they were voted in to do, like, I don't know, nationalise the steelworks. And Farage has spotted a gap in the market, and he's gone running for it. And you know what it reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
Donald Trump.
I think Trump's tendrils. I think Trump's tendrils reach. I think both Starmer and Nigel are in the tentacled grasp of Donald Trump.
You think Starmer is?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
For sure. Right. Only one British parliamentarian receives an official invite to the inauguration.
Uh-huh.
Founder of Blue Labour, Maurice Glassman.
Uh-huh.
What is Blue Labour, for people unfamiliar? It is the economically interventionist but socially conservative grouping of Labour thinkers, MPs. Comes to prominence under New Labour. It's on the right of the party, and crucially now, you would say, is probably the faction that is in control of the Labour Party and the government in this country. And the guy who starts that movement is the only person invited over there, officially invited by JD Vance, that's whose signature is on it. Steve Bannon has called Glassman a hero. And I think there is... Okay, so what you were saying then, just a second ago, right? Who else is putting out all these videos of deportations and people being forcibly removed from their country? Who else is talking about this kind of this end of globalization? Glassman, Starmer, and crucially Vance and Bannon talk about it as well. This kind of progressives as the enemy. I think there's far more overlap between a kind of the current politics of the Labour Party, i.e. slightly more left-wing economics, but right-wing on social issues. And I think there is actually a degree of overlap there, which we can talk about more in a moment. But absolutely, when you look at reform, I do think there is a connection to and a similarity with the kind of nationalist, populist wing of the MAGA movement.
But Blue Labour wouldn't have been after the unions, and they wouldn't have been promoting the needs of the workers. Blue Labour would have been like suppressing the workers' rights bill or the New Deal for workers. Do you know what I mean? So I sort of understand what you mean, but then it's entirely plausible that JD Vance like completely misinterprets Blue Labour. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't he call us like Islamists the other day?
He made that.
What, you can't have Sharia law anymore? Like, you know, do you know what I mean? Does that make what? Just because I like Sharia law, that makes me like, you know,
English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right. Well, fine.
I think
Cuff me now.
he said it was the UK is going to be the first nuclear-armed Muslim power. That was the joke, wasn't it? Something like that.
I don't think he used Muslim, did he? Anyone know? Anyone in the back?
I love this.
What?
We're just like fully devolving like any semblance of research or fact checking for the podcast for the people that don't have microphones.
Yeah.
Is that true? I don't know. Let's make it up.
Yeah.
Look, ARC.
Whoa. Okay.
Do you like that click?
Yeah.
I've got a good clap on me as well.
Let's
if
go.
If you want to see that.
Let me hear it.
No. There you go.
That was quite nice.
My ears ringing.
Yeah. My ears are ringing. Not from the clap, but in general.
No, it's just the clap.
Oh, mine have been ringing this whole time.
It's the power of these hands.
I don't want to like be rude, but do you think we're a bit shit today?
I think it's okay.
July last year, he said the UK will be the first Islamist nuclear power.
Yeah, you said Muslim. I said I don't think it was Muslim.
Oh, tomato.
There's a very big difference between being a Muslim and an Islamist. Do I have to point that out to you?
Well, you know,
Because do
political
you know who would point that out? Sadiq Khan or Lee Anderson, who of course was suspended from the Conservative Party for saying something similar.
Well, he said Sadiq Khan and his Islamist mates, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is different from being Muslim.
Yeah. I guess Islamist is sort of politically Muslim, isn't it?
I can't say what I will do on here.
So
Top myself.
don't do that. It's okay.
Can we
Do you take a break?
Can we get back into this?
Yeah, massively. So Glassman. Do you know, yesterday I was interviewing a Labour MP at this desk.
Oh yeah, did she fix you up with that?
Yeah.
Did she do Yanis?
No, I did both actually.
Okay, sorry.
In the end. But there was a moment where I, you know, in my I don't know if you've noticed about me, Ava, I have a very casual, laid back interview style. You know, I might talk for a couple of minutes before I allow the guest to even speak. And
Not when it's Zizek.
Well, you don't get a choice when it's Zizek. And I said, I can't remember what it was I said specifically, but he looked me dead in the eyes and went, I violently agree with you.
Wow. My God.
Yeah, it was a bit like that.
Jesus.
It was, yeah. I was like, fucking hell, all right.
What happened then?
We fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I think you'll be very pleased with what we've just said.
I don't think have we published the interview yet. No, okay. Yeah, he'll be overjoyed then.
Can I get back to why I thought it was Trump and MAGA? Because you've had your chance and all you've said is Glassman, Blue Labour, and Muslims and Islamists are the same thing.
You brought that up.
I did not.
ARC, Alliance for Responsible Citizenship. Do you know who sits on the advisory board alongside?
Who?
Douglas Murray.
No.
Glassman.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shut up.
One of the key organisational, you wouldn't really call it a think tank, but certainly one of the organisations that's driving at an Atlanticist populist movement funded by Paul Marshall, fronted by Jordan Peterson. 100% they are connected
Blue
to each
Labour.
other. Yeah.
Atlanticist. That word doesn't sit nicely in my mouth. It doesn't sit there. Do you know what else doesn't? British. Really struggle with that.
What, to say the word British?
Yeah, I really struggle with
you're
it.
fucking woke.
That was good.
This is so good. I think this is peak.
No.
I think this is like redlining it 99.5% podcast performance.
Do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, presumably you'll all let us know.
Don't worry, there'll be some feedback.
Yeah, there'll be some feedback.
Yeah. It'll all be directed at you.
Of course it will. I don't give a fuck.
Love that about you. Look, I think there's a degree of overlap there. For sure I do.
There is...
Are we boring you?
No.
Did you just yawn?
He did.
Like that audibly as well. Are you doing?
We can't see you. You could...
Keep it quiet.
Oh, I tried to keep it quiet.
What? How long have we been going for?
Not maybe 20 minutes, half an hour.
God, what? Don't. I'm going to do you a favour. Don't do that.
Why not?
You don't want to do that.
Why not? Has anyone got a skateboard?
I promise you. You look. Oh God, you look exactly like Pete Davidson in that skit.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Sesame Street t-shirt as well.
Yeah, I know. We can all see it.
What about like that?
That makes you look like you've got a receding hairline.
I actually think my hairline's quite strong.
Yeah, I know it is, but that's what I just told you. That made it look like. Put that down, honestly.
Look at the camera. Nice.
That's nice, isn't it?
Right. You've got one shot to get this back on track.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah? Farage, MAGA. I think there are two strains of economic thought within the MAGA movement, right?
Okay.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I give you prop comedy with this hat. It's not good enough. I talk about the various strains of economic thought within the MAGA movement. It's not good enough. I just want to make you happy, Ava Santina.
Okay.
What do I need to do?
I don't know. Come on. What are the two? What are the two strains of economic thought in the MAGA movement?
Nationalist.
Don't know why
populist.
you're yelling at me.
Nationalist populist.
Yeah.
Embodied by the likes of Steve Bannon. Mm-hmm. Libertarian tech oligarch. Mm-hmm. Musk. Teal. Etc.
Yeah.
And there's actually increasingly now a rift between these two strains of thought, which is why you get Musk publicly calling Pete Navarro, the guy, one of the biggest advocates and hive mind behind the tariff policy,
Yeah.
calling him as thick as a sack of bricks.
Yeah.
They are falling out big time.
Big time.
And I think you could 100% look at Farage, Scunthorpe, Steelworks. Yeah, okay. That connects to Bannon. That connects to that nationalist populist economics. It very definitely does not connect to that libertarian tech side. Because the view of those guys would very much be let it collapse, you know?
Yeah.
Let it fall into a million pieces and let fucking Philip Green or someone buy it for £1.
Yeah, and take all the pensions, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Do you know it's so weird that you bring up Philip Green?
Why?
I would have been a teenager and I was in the Oxford Street Topshop and he was doing a walk around. I don't know what came over me. I said, where are the pensions? I don't know where it came from. Because I wasn't even really that politically engaged.
This woman, ladies and gentlemen,
No, but I really
a
wasn't.
journalist from day one,
I just wasn't that politically
speaking
engaged.
truth to power. Philip Green, how dare you go into Oxford Street Topshop?
I don't know where
She
it
will
came
confront
from.
you.
I don't know where it came from.
What did he say?
And I tell you what I was buying. I remember what I was buying very vividly. They were a pair of, I think they were called Chloe Green Topshop heels. You might be familiar with them. They had green soles on them.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know, like one of your
Why would I be
girlfriends?
familiar with the clothes that teenage girls buy?
Because you would have been a teenager at the time and they were like quite a big hit amongst teenage girls at that time.
I thought you were making a nonce joke about me.
No.
Okay.
If I was a teenager, so were you.
Okay.
It wasn't.
What did Philip Green say to you?
Oh, I got escorted out by security.
Really?
No, truly. And it was very. Shut up. The stress.
That. Ed Campbell, are you listening? How did you sleep, Minister?
Yeah. I don't
That's
know.
how it's done.
I don't know why I did it, honestly. And I was really stressed about it because I loved going to the Oxford Street Topshop.
Oh, you got barred.
Well, no, I didn't get told I got barred or anything like that. I just got escorted out by security.
But it was implied.
But I didn't try and go back for like 6 months. And of course, we weren't internet shopping then. So if you weren't going in there, you were fucked.
Yeah. So how did you get your glow green heels?
No, I went back in after like 6 months.
But then you were off trend.
But I guess I had like real main character syndrome. 'Cause I was like, oh my God, they were looking at me. They're going to throw me out again. I don't even know who I am.
Well, that was an interesting anecdote. Thank you for sharing it.
Anyway, back to...
What do you think?
About what?
Do you think there is a connection between the nationalist populist economics of Steve Bannon and his fellow travellers in the MAGA movement and Nigel Farage and reform? Because previously you would have always said, I mean you in the abstract, not you specifically, but you would have always said Farage's economics were Thatcherite.
Would I?
No, I'm saying not you specifically. I'm saying informed observers would say, possibly, that he was a Thatcherite.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
They might, what?
I'm trying, Ava, I'm really trying.
So am I.
But you need to say something
Do you know it's,
about this.
this is sort of like, have you ever seen Marriage Story?
No.
Oh. Well,
Oh, Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver.
yes.
Great film.
This is like when the podcast breaks down.
I'm about to punch a hole in the fucking wall.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Give me your analysis.
of what?
Steele, Scunthorpe,
yes.
nationalisation.
Yes. I already kind of did. I said he spotted a gap in the market.
Yeah, but you said
I
it
thought
was
that
you said it was interesting to you.
Yeah, I know, but I haven't put the piece together yet, so I haven't quite decided why I found it interesting. I'm still sort of in thought. I'm still ruminating over what I saw.
Right.
Did meet a guy at the pub, though, who had a 30 grand bail on him.
Right.
He must have held up a bank or something like that. That's a lot. That's a big bail. Didn't even know you could get bailed out for that much. Or maybe he was trying to show it off. I don't know. Maybe he thought I'd swoon.
You also had a pint of Guinness in a plastic cup.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
A Carling plastic cup.
Yeah, yeah. And do you know what? It's something funny. She had the audacity as well to pour it 2/3 and like wait a minute for it to settle and then pour the rest. I was like, nice.
Very good.
Nice one, Linda.
How did it taste?
It was fine. I think, you know.
Pints in plastic cups, no bueno.
Exactly. Pints in plastic cups aren't nice at all. So it doesn't really matter. Okay.
I'd rather have a pint out of a cardboard cup than a plastic cup.
That is insane. I'm sorry. That is absolutely mental. That wet cardboard in your mouth, that does it not make you feel unwell?
Well, it should be well waxed.
No, even then it seeps through. I
drink it fast.
I can't always drink it fast, can I? Like if I'm at a festival, no, because I've got to control my peeing, right?
Little Miss Three Kidneys over here.
Yeah, exactly. And you can piss anywhere, right?
Well, within the realms of the law.
One of the worst things about festivals, I'd say, is like for women, is that they'll just do like portaloos and then they'll have like urinals.
Yeah.
But then all of you lot come over to use the portaloos because you'll be, I presumably you're taking something. I don't know.
I think if you're at a festival and you're going to the toilet to do drugs, you need to get a grip.
I'm thinking like a day festival or something.
Even there. Anonymity in crowds. Like what you're going to seek out the rancid portaloo. You're going to go in
all I'm
there.
saying is I just wish if you have a penis, I just go and use the urinal.
But you can get a plastic penis, can't you? You can get a shiwi.
Yeah, but I can't go to the urinal to use that.
Why not?
What am I going to do? Take my jeans down and then like stand there with a fucking shiwi on? Like, what's the matter with you?
Like a fucking like a 6-year-old schoolboy with his trousers around his ankles stood in the urinal.
Yeah.
One of my mates loves doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
He calls it doing a schoolboy, and it'll be like, queue for the urinal in like a busy pub, and when he gets there, he'll get put his trousers around his ankles and stand there with like some 60-year-old bloke stood next to him, looking at him funny. Oh,
I love that sort of thing. That's good fun.
It is good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun.
Right.
We'll do this all properly on tomorrow morning's podcast.
Why would we not do it properly? I've given you so many
We've lost the run of
opportunities.
ourselves.
You think so?
Lost the run of
It's got
myself.
silly.
Yeah. And also, Laura's done proper notes and everything. Makes me feel terrible. She even put what star matter. You did exactly what I asked. That's so nice. I feel really bad.
Why don't you use some of it?
We could keep that. We could do that, me and you, tomorrow morning, couldn't we?
Why can't you do it with me?
I don't know, Bucky. Why can't I? Why do you look like this?
Have you been to a Bucky's?
Yeah, I have actually.
Great petrol station.
Yeah.
50 pumps, pulled pork sandwiches.
Big.
Real big. Big bag of I think it's deer feed at the front.
Oh, really?
Ton bag of deer feed out the front, yeah.
Do you know there's a Conservative MP that's using our exact font and
This pisses you off so much, doesn't it?
It pisses me off so much.
Look, I think if the Conservatives, ordained to give us just a wee crumb of access, right? If they gave us, I don't know.
But they suck us off like nothing else.
Who would you want? They definitely don't suck us off.
Yes, they do. That's why they're nicking the font. They know.
That's not sucking off.
It is.
That's plagiarism.
Climb out.
They're not the same thing.
Sure. Wait, sorry. Maybe I've been doing it for the wrong reasons. I don't... I've misunderstood.
I wouldn't mind if they gave us a bit of Mel Stride's ankle.
Yeah. I actually haven't asked about him for a while. Do you know that? I should do that.
Check in on him.
I think that they probably would say yes.
See if he's okay. Anyway, I wouldn't mind if they then took our font and colouring, right?
It's exactly the same spot. It's the 1x1 video.
No,
it's exactly the same spot on the alignment.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
No, it's not, because what they're doing is, by doing that, they're trying to trick the viewer into thinking it's a Joe video and an objective piece that we've decided is worth the viewer seeing. Instead, it's a politically motivated video. Thank you.
But it's just a PMQs clip, isn't it?
It just fucks me off, though.
They copy us because ours do a lot of views, right? And I think it's like the duality, the twin track thinking of these guys do a shit ton of views and we're going to copy and steal their audience development strategies.
And that's why they're not ready for government.
However,
because they've got no original thought. Whatever 21-year-old made that video for them is just that, this video from this company does well, so I'm going to copy it. No original thought.
I quite like that impression.
Yeah, thank you.
We could use that for in the future.
Do you know something? I can't say that on this podcast. I'll have to say it to you afterwards.
Lib Dems do it too.
What?
Lib Dems have our exact font.
Yeah, I know. And then when I messaged them about it, they were like, yep. They just admitted that they took it.
I don't mind because
the Lib Dems can
Ed Davey comes on Poljo.
But presumably as well, they would have been better. They went for orange and they should have gone for yellow because that's their colour. So it was actually very respectful of them to change the colour.
Yeah. Should we just fucking put a bullet in this thing?
I had a good time. Did you?
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah.
I think there's been some good gags. I think if you wanted some, there's a bit of politics.
I could have a beer right now. Do you want to go and do that? What have you got on?
I'm just checking my diary now, mate. I've got a meeting in 20 minutes.
Yeah? What time? 45 or 3 o'clock?
45, yeah.
With who?
Other people?
Can you push it back?
No. You'll have to go with Laura, I'm afraid.
Sean, are you interested?
I have to do the podcast.
Oh yeah, and I have to edit Scunthorpe. Once more into the breach.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That was good fun. I liked the bit where we talked about how we commute to work.
Jesus Christ. Thanks for listening to the PoliticsJOE podcast, everyone.
Tell us how you commute to work.
Sean said, tell us how you commute to work.
In the comments below, how do you get to work? It's just going to be people saying, I drive because I don't live in London.
Yeah. You're so London-centric.
But that will be the criticism. It's like, how dare you talk about your experience that happens to be in London? You London wankers. And I get it,
Yeah.
When I didn't live in London, I hated everyone in London.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, of course you do.
Why?
Because I live near Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
It's like you hate everyone in London. If you're not in London, you hate London.
Right.
It's like Glastonbury.
And if you're in London, you hate yourself.
Yeah. Then you realise the greatest joke of all. Yeah. No, it's like Glastonbury. The people at Glastonbury think the sun shines out their arse and it's the best place on in the world to be right there in that weekend. Everybody else in the country wishes they would just shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often think if they were having the best time ever, they wouldn't post about it all the time.
Yeah.
Probably enough. We've probably done enough here.
Fucking hell.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, yes.
Bye.